Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 5, the final day of the Eat the Rainbow Challenge. I'm Ocean Robbins, CEO and co-founder of Food Revolution Network. So excited to be here with all of you. Today's the last day of our life challenge, and today is Eat the Rainbow Day. Our powerhouse team, Nicole D'Andrea Russert, registered dietitian nutritionist, Rosie McKay, our community nutritionist, and Will Benitez, our community success manager, are all here with me again. So far in this journey, we've had 4 challenge days with the walnut pesto angel hair pasta on day 1, the white bean and mushroom burger on day 2 when we were joined by Dr. Ellen Desmond. Day 3 with the hearty minestrone butternut soup. Yesterday was blueberry ginger smoothie day, and we were joined by Dr. Aisha Sherzai. And now today is summer rainbow spring rolls with chili mango sauce day. Oh my gosh, does that sound fun? And it is rainbow day when we put it all together. So, what about some of your favorites? Go ahead and include your favorite recipes in the comments. If you've got a favorite Whole Foods plant-based recipe that's loaded with the rainbow of nutrients, feel free to share some of your favorites in there. I actually don't think we can accommodate links in there because we're trying to keep spammers out, but you can share your experiences and your favorite recipes. And we also want to hear from you. What are some of your favorite moments from the challenge so far? And how has this rainbow challenge impacted your life? Where are you in your journey? We want to invite you to share. So thank you so much for being here in this journey with all of us. And I just want to say, folks, it is such a powerful piece of this journey that we are doing it in community with other people. Because at the one level, knowledge is power, right? When you have knowledge, you can do stuff. You know what's going on. You understand your place in the universe. Knowledge is so important. But the truth is that knowledge without action is just data, right? What happens when we put it into action? And how do we create the conditions for transformation? For real change to happen, it takes more than just knowing what to do. It takes doing what you know. It takes putting it into practice. And that, my friends, is what we're all about here. And that's what's happening in this challenge. We're learning how to eat in a new way, in a toxic food culture where all around us junk food is normalized, subsidized, mainstreamized, advertised. Twinkies has 14 subsidized ingredients. Broccoli, none. We're in a toxic food culture. In that context, you can't afford to just try to figure it out on your own. It takes intentional support. And quite frankly, it takes community. More and more researchers coming out showing us that the number one key to happiness and longevity is love, is connection, is a sense of belonging. And we are so much more likely as highly social creatures to succeed in any endeavor when we have peer support. And that is why we're here. And that's what Food Revolution Network is committed to, and that's what Whole Life Club is all about. So thank you all for being a part of this community, and I want to invite you to feel that you're not alone. I want to invite you to feel the 18,000 other people that are part of this challenge, the million people that are part of the Food Revolution Network community, and to know we're with you and we've got your back and we're supporting you and standing with you every step of the way. Now, we want to award our prizes for yesterday's entries. We entered the eligible names, all the people who prepared the recipe of the day and submitted their thoughts about it, into a random drawing. And our first winner is Carmen N., who said, "Thanks for all the information shared in the Rainbow Challenge. Today's recipe brought back cherished childhood memories. My loving mom, she is in heaven, used to wake us with smoothies that we all enjoyed. Though we didn't realize she cleverly included vegetables in them. We thought we were drinking strawberry smoothie, only to discover years later that she'd been making them with beets. The smoothies were colorful and delicious, just like the blueberries that I had this afternoon. The ginger was a great addition. Thank you again to the team. You are truly appreciated." Carmen, thank you so much for sharing. We are sending love to you and to your mom and gratitude. And isn't it true that sometimes food can touch us back into our memories and our history and hopefully some connections with love and beauty along the way? Whatever our histories have been, we get to make new memories now. We get to make new choices now. We get to lean into the vibrant power of healthy food now. And we want to support you in that journey. So we are thrilled to award you with a year's membership in Whole Life Club. Congratulations. You've now got free access to FRN's signature membership community for the next year, a place where knowledge becomes action, a place where healthy habits become second nature. So you're going to receive recipes and action videos every single week, and a space to submit your questions to a leading expert in our monthly action hour, and full access to our library of more than 1,400 mouth-watering recipes, and our growing archive of more than 80 expert interviews, and so much more. You'll be part of a warm, uplifting community. So thank you for being a part of this journey with us, and we cannot wait to welcome you in Whole Life Club. Our next winner is Carmela C., who said, I'm currently chasing the Eat the Rainbow Challenge recipes as I have had very long, busy days, and I've only completed the first day's recipe, but I will not give up. My walnut pesto angel hair pasta was delicious. I made it my own by adding more lemon juice, nutritional yeast, and spices like coriander and cardamom. I'm looking forward to completing the additional day's recipes. I'm discovering what cooking with plant foods can be, and it's exciting. I'm developing a new relationship with real food. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this food revolution and for all your support. Carmela, thank you for being here, and we want to support you more to make this happen even in your busy life. So our team will follow up with you, and you also will have a year's membership in Whole Life Club. Congratulations. And for everyone else, if you've been thinking about how to keep the momentum going after this challenge, then Whole Life Club could be an amazing resource for you. It's how you turn what you've learned this week, and maybe in the summit, if you were part of that, into a lifestyle that you love. And right now, for this final day, it's on sale with a $1 trial offer to get in for the 14-day trial for just $1, and then 60% off thereafter. So if you're interested, please check it out, and we would love to welcome you so you can keep this going strong and contribute to and participate in a community of kindred spirits, lifting each other up and helping each other get healthier and healthier together. And now, folks, it is time for our final recipe demo. Rosie, what are you showing us how to make today?
Thanks, Ocean. Hi, everybody. So we are going to be doing our summer rainbow spring rolls, and we're going to be making a tasty mango chili dip to go with it. So if you've already looked at the recipe, you could probably see that there's quite a bit of color, from red cabbage to orange carrots to red strawberries, purpley red cabbage. We've got all the colors. So we're going to go ahead and get started first with a note about mise en place. So I know we talked about this on the first day, but today is even more important for practicing mise en place, as you will need to have essentially some stations ready to go. So what mise en place means is everything in its place. Definitely look through your recipe beforehand to see how much you have to chop. And I recommend putting them all in their own individual dish. That way it's easier to grab and fill as we go along. So for the first thing we're going to do with this recipe, this is actually a no-cook recipe, which we love those from time to time in Whole Life Club, doing no-cook recipes. But the assembly will be a ton of fun. So if you have some family around, maybe some kids who want to maybe get in the kitchen and experiment, this is one of those recipes that's great for them too. All right, so the first thing we're gonna take is our brown rice paper spring roll wrappers, and I will show you the brand that I have. This is pretty common in most health food stores like Whole Foods or Sprouts, but you just wanna look for essentially a Vietnamese brown rice paper roll. They're pretty easy to find nowadays, but if you cannot find one in your grocery store, it's very easy to pick them up online. The key with our spring rolls, the wrappers, is making sure that we soak them just enough. If you soak them too long, they're going to get really mushy and hard to work with. If you don't soak them long enough, they're not going to be pliable and everything is going to kind of break and crumble. The good thing about this recipe, though, with the amount of hydrating ingredients that we have, it will start to soften up as time goes on. So the instructions say to dip it in some hot water. You do want it to be warm enough to get it pliable, but not too hot that you can't actually handle what it is you're doing. So usually what I do, and I'll show you here, I also recommend you put down a piece of parchment paper or a silicone baking mat while you're doing this, just to prevent any sticking, especially if you're using a wooden cutting board. If you do accidentally soak it a little bit too long, you don't want everything getting stuck and then you can't wrap anything. Having the parchment is a good way to help you roll, especially if this is your first time doing this. So you want to stick your rice paper wrapper in a wide enough dish that's also deep enough to coat your spring roll paper and just rotate it around a few times. So it shouldn't stay in the water for more than 20 seconds. You just want it to be pliable, but not overly soft. So we're going to see how well I do this today while multitasking. Usually I get this down to a science when I'm by myself, but talking and dipping, I might be a little bit off, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so that was our first one. You're gonna lay it flat on a wide enough surface where you can grip your rice paper as we're wrapping things. And from here, we're just gonna fill. So I would recommend starting with our strawberry slices. You can also use other fruit here. You don't have to use strawberry. Peaches would be really good in place of strawberries. Full pieces of mango would be good. You just want to make sure you cut when you're cutting everything, especially the pieces like the avocado and the strawberries and the cucumber. You're cutting them wide enough that they can have a good base for the rest of your ingredients, but not too wide that you can't fill them. So also keep in mind the size of your rice paper. So we're going to lay about 4 pieces down. And this will be our red ingredient for today. So of course, strawberries are high in vitamin C. They have tons of antioxidants, great for your immune system, great for your heart health. So we're bringing all of the things that we learned this week into this one tasty bite all by the end. Then the next thing we're gonna do is lay our tofu slices down. I do recommend you cut these on the thinner side, so they should be about 1 inch all the way around, and that's so that you can easily lay it on top of your strawberries. As you can see, I laid my strawberries slightly overlapping, but spread out enough to create a good foundation. You'll want to do the same with your tofu. Then we're going to add in some green avocado. So we're bringing back avocado today for our healthy fats, our B vitamins, some magnesium, potassium, and of course some fiber. And then we're going to lay down a few pieces of basil. Depending on how large your basil leaves are, you may only need 2. This bunch was relatively small, so I'm actually going to end up using 4. And you can use other herbs here too. So if you like the taste of cilantro, cilantro would be great here. If you don't want to use herbs at all, you can use another flat leafy green in place of basil. So some spinach leaves would be good here. And then from here, we're gonna gently tuck on each side. Oh, I did forget one note, and I didn't even follow my own instruction. You do want to make sure, I don't know if you guys just saw me slide that down. You do want to make sure that you're putting most of the ingredients of 3/4 of the way down the wrapper. This is so you have more leverage when you're rolling it across. So I just shifted everything a bit closer to me, but make sure you also leave enough on the sides for tucking. And then from here, we're just gonna lay and space. We don't want it to get too wide to where you can't roll. So at this point, stacking is super helpful. This recipe also calls for some julienned cucumber. I cut mine into little matchsticks, but you can make your planks a little bit bigger if you'd like. Some shredded purple carrots. You can use, I'm sorry, not carrots, cabbage. Although you could use rainbow carrots. That would be really good in this recipe. I use a mandolin to cut mine, and that's really good for a fine shred. You can also hand slice this, or if you don't want to do a lot of chopping, as I'm sure many of you probably saw when you looked at the recipe, oh, this is going to be a lot of chopping. This would be a good example of using something that's already pre-chopped from the grocery store. So you could get a bag of pre-shredded cabbage, especially if you want to make a smaller amount in general, and use that. And usually it's tri-colored cabbage, so you're going to be getting a mix of color in there anyway, with some green, and there might be some purple. They could throw some carrot in there. You could also use a broccoli slaw in place of this if you wanted. So there's a lot of substitutions for this. and then a small bit of carrot. So this is really just going to depend on how much you think you can stuff in your roll, how much you add. So I know with the recipe, we have things written out, but just know, at least for me, whenever I make these, I always over chop with the anticipation that I'm going to try to stuff a lot. You can either do that or you can chop a little bit less, but I find having just enough on hand allows me to get through all 8 of my wrappers. So once we have everything laid out, and I just added in 2 pieces of green onion, just to give it a fresh oniony flavor. You're gonna tuck the end all the way over, bring it in closer, and from here, you're gonna tuck your sides like a burrito. And this is, I soaked this relatively long enough. It should be pliable enough, but not too hard for you to maneuver. So it should stick on itself. That's the good thing about these rolls is the most challenging part outside of getting everything to lay together is just getting that first initial roll and tuck. So once you do that, you can also tuck in a little bit higher up. And then from there, you just roll. So this is why I recommend the parchment as well, because it helps you get a smooth finish. And this is the reason why we also laid the strawberry down first, because when you're presenting these, you see the strawberry sitting on top. So this actually makes for a really fun party appetizer too, a great light summer meal just in general. So we're gonna go ahead and do another one. If there are questions, feel free to start fielding them to me, Will or Nicole or Ocean, whoever has their eyes on questions.
Thanks, Rosie. Well, that's a good prompt or reminder to have folks send, submit your questions in the comments. So we'll be sure to refresh. I don't think there were any questions as it pertains to the demo so far. Plenty of love, Rosie and Ocean, for the colors that you were displaying on your shirts. Rosie read a couple comments, people wondering if you were going to wear a rainbow shirt today, and you did not disappoint.
I couldn't. It's the last day. You know, you go big or you go home. You got to see it through.
Oh, that's so great, Rosie. There was a question again. It wasn't about the demo necessarily, but we'll refresh to see if any are coming in. But Barbara was curious about onions. Barbara said, "Hi, everyone. Thanks for this event. Loving it. I am wondering if there is any nutritional difference between yellow onions and sweet onions. I use mostly sweet onion because they are much easier on my eyes." Rosie or Nicole, what are your thoughts on the nutritional difference, if there is any?
I can, you want me to jump in here, Rosie? Will you
Sure.
grab the ingredients? Hi, everybody. Thanks for the question, Will. Yeah, so they're very similar. Onions in general have a really high antioxidant content. That compound that burns your eyes is part of what gives them their nutritional value. So if you have a really pungent onion and your eyes start tearing, just know that the exchange for that is high nutrition. So it's not a bad thing. So you maybe can get some goggles or something. But the sweet onions have plenty of antioxidant value as well. Onions are a rich source of prebiotic fiber, all onions. So again, that healthy gut fiber, that your gut bugs love that fiber. Onions are packed with them, all kinds of onions. Sweet onion may have a little bit of as the name implies, a little bit of a higher carbohydrate or sugar content. It's a natural sugar. It's not like a refined sugar that you would get in an ultra processed food, of course, but maybe a higher carbohydrate content than a straight up yellow onion. But in general, they're all high in vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants. So choose what you like.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. Rosie, a question did come in about the recipe. Do I have time for it?
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. Renee C just asked, couldn't you put red, orange, yellow, or green pepper in this recipe?
Yes, you totally can. And that's a great question. I actually think that is a little bit more of a common filling when you see these kinds of spring rolls. So that could go in place or in addition to, although you do just want to be mindful of how much you're trying to stuff into these rolls, because while they are pretty pliable, overstuffing is going to lead to your wrapper bursting. But you can totally swap in red peppers for other things if that's what you prefer. Like if you don't want any fruit in this at all, that's a great substitution for the strawberries. You could do that in place of carrot if you wanted, or even the cucumber if you wanted. I agree. And we actually have another recipe similar to this within Whole Life Club that has a different set of vegetables in them. So there's lots of ways to stuff these.
I also saw a question from Laverne who said, I ran across an article which stated we can lose some of the benefits of the antioxidant power of blueberries if we add banana or even apples to a smoothie. Can you please address this concern? Laverne, thank you for raising that. Yes, there has been some research showing that when bananas, less so apples, are included in a smoothie along with berries, the antioxidant potency of those berries goes down by about 80%. A chill goes through the crowd. But here's the good news. 20% is still a lot. Berries are loaded with antioxidants. So yes, since I learned this, I try to sometimes sweeten my berry smoothies with like mango or pineapple or other things that maybe are not bananas. Or maybe I'll have my smoothies with banana and other things that aren't berries. So I try to separate them a bit, but I also want you all to remember berries are super, super healthy, and antioxidants aren't the only amazing thing about them. And 20% again is still a bunch because berries are so loaded with antioxidants. So yes, don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. And if you want to super, super optimize your antioxidant potency, try to have at least an hour between your consumption of berries and your consumption of bananas. Now, why is this? It's super technical and complicated, but that's the takeaway. Nicole, did you want to add anything to that, or is that pretty much your take as well?
I agree with you 100%, Ocean. Yeah, I just want to mention though, like, it's so important to, as Ocean is alluding to, like, just think of the bigger picture. You're still getting plenty of nutrition in all these fruits and vegetables. So like the only way you're going to drink a smoothie is if you have that banana and blueberry mixture. Enjoy it and know that you're getting so much nutrition in there. And blueberries even have this enzyme that the bananas have, but just in a much lesser quantity. And so do apples, as you asked, and other fruits. So like this polyphenol oxidase is a part of that whole plant structure. So we're going to get some anyway. It's just that bananas have a higher amount. And
Oh, I think Nicole might have frozen up there, one of those internet moments, but
I
we're
think
still
so.
here.
Yep, I think we only
Yes,
caught or missed the last two words, so I think folks got the gist.
yes, absolutely.
Rosie, there were a couple questions that came in on the recipe. Do we need
Yeah.
to? Yeah, okay. Um, Diane just asked, is there a substitute for the tofu? And also, instead of strawberries, Diane's curious on using cherries or tomatoes. What do you think, Rosie?
Yeah, so there for tofu, you can use tempeh or you can omit the soy component completely. I added it to this recipe mostly just to try to make it as complete as possible. So if you are wanting to avoid soy or just want vegetable rolls without the addition of tofu or tempeh, doesn't have to be added here. Tomatoes would also be great. It really is just about mixing and matching. Well, actually, no. Tomatoes would be really good with the mango chili dip too. So usually with spring rolls like this, you typically tend to see it accompanied by a peanut sauce, but I figured we'd give it a fresh summer twist with some mango instead. But you can play around with the combinations of flavors that you'd like. Really, the goal is just to make it fresh and pretty and use a bunch of different vegetables. So really whatever you got and you think sounds delicious. You can also put zucchini in this, yellow squash. Sky's kind of the limit with what you can stuff these with.
Rosie, related to, well, that question, but I'm sorry, I can't remember who asked earlier in the week about jicama. I wonder if jicama would be.
Yes, jicama would be amazing in this.
Mm.
I would put that in place of cucumbers. It would be so fantastic in this recipe.
And a good crunch. I mean, not that this recipe is lacking any crunch, but if you're going to replace something and you still want that crunch, jicama would be great. And Ocean, I think you're ready for a question or a comment, but
Yeah.
before, uh, Rosie, I'm thinking when you said like, with the substitutes, it's especially if you're feeding folks, family members, or hosting a summer gathering or something, it'd be great to have some with fruit and maybe some have mango and strawberries that the kiddos really look forward to. and then some just veggie ones with peanut sauce or something. The variety can be wonderful. Just adding that. Ocean, off to you.
Yeah, I just saw a question that came in from Kathy that I wanted to address. She said, when making smoothies, I watch my protein content. Is there a preference for using hemp seeds versus hemp protein powder if we're attempting to use whole foods? So thanks so much for asking, Kathy. And, one of the top principles with smoothies and protein, I've said this almost every day of this challenge. I feel like a broken record, but soy milk, people, it just drives me nuts, all the oats and almonds and other milks out there that have like 1 gram of protein per cup or maybe 2. And then soy's got like 8 or 12. And it's like, okay, if you aren't allergic to soy, like go for the soy if you want more protein in your diet. Soy milk's pretty awesome. And Eden soy makes the unsweetened form that it has 12 grams of protein per cup. Okay, off that soapbox. I promise that'll be the last time I talk about Eden soy in this challenge. But back to hemp though. Great job. Hemp's awesome. It's a great protein source and such a wholesome, healthy food because you got omega-3 fatty acids, you got fiber, you got the protein. So the thing is, if you go with a hemp protein powder, then you're basically getting a more concentrated dose of protein, right? Which is cool if you're just focusing on protein, but you're losing the fiber and the omega-3s and some of the other benefits that are in the whole hemp seed. So I'd say hemp seeds are pretty great. You can get 2 tablespoons, and I think they give you like 8 grams of protein, but they also give you so many other wonderful benefits. But if you're really just trying to maximize protein, then yeah, of course, any refined product that's just protein is going to deliver more protein. It just may not have some of the other things. I'm big on adding peanut butter and hemp seeds to smoothies, by the way. Put that combo in there and you can really boost the protein intake, and you're getting a lot of other wonderful health benefits at the same time.
Yeah, I think I love the idea of hemp seeds. Rosie knows I talk about adding hemp seeds whenever you get the chance throughout your day. Like you said, Ocean, they're chock full of protein, fiber, omega-3 fatty acids. It's just a really wonderful food. And then for smoothies in particular, I know some folks who will add like silken tofu to their smoothies, or quality plant-based yogurt, especially if you make one homemade, maybe with soy for like some extra creaminess and protein, if folks who really like a creamy smoothie. So I think those 2 options can work well too.
Yes, absolutely.
Those ideas. I was going to mention one of the things just about protein powders in general, even if they're plant protein powders, just a reminder, as Ocean was mentioning, that whenever we have like an isolated source, like just protein from any food, whether it's hemp or pea or pumpkin seed, we have all these fancy protein powders available to us now. We're only getting the protein. So you leave, as Ocean mentioned, all of that other good stuff behind, like the fiber and the vitamins and the minerals and everything else that comes with that whole food. So whenever we have the option of using the whole food ingredient, it's always best to opt for that first.
Yeah, and to be honest, Nicole, that's why I at least consider protein powders to be a supplement for that reason. Like I think it's helpful to just think about it as like you're supplementing protein. You're not really getting, like you said, that whole food. So I know so many people who leave off protein powder when I'm asking about their supplements, and I truly do think it's a helpful one, especially if it's a good, clean, quality product. But that's really it. It's not a whole food.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian said, while I do know that any consumption is better than none, I'm wondering if there's an article or a list somewhere differentiating between the vegetables best eaten raw or cooked. Yes, there is. In fact, you could probably say, is there an article about, and fill in the blank with just about any important food or health topic, and say, yes, there is on foodrevolution.org. We've got over 1,000 articles on there, including one on raw versus cooked. So if you go to foodrevolution.org and type raw or raw cooked, I'm not sure what to perfectly put in the search bar, but you'll find it. And it's a great article, and it really goes over those foods that are have the most nutrient bioavailability in cooked form or raw form. And actually, in some cases, you can do a combo. Let me share one fun little geeky tip here. So if you are looking for sulforaphane, which is what happens when myrosinase, which is an enzyme, combines with glucosinolates, which are a potent nutrient. You put them together in your mouth when you chew, and that creates sulforaphane, which is a powerful antioxidant and anti-cancer compound. And sulforaphane is just like liquid gold for your health. And you get that when you combine the myrosinase and the glucosinolates. But the cool thing is that myrosinase is killed when it's cooked, right? So you kind of want that raw. Glucosinolates are not. So you get a little bit of raw cabbage or mustard seed or broccoli sprouts or any other of the cruciferous veggies, which are all containing myrosinase. Just a little bit of that raw can be combined with any cooked elements, and you get all the glucosinolates in the cooked, and you can probably eat more of it volume-wise when it's cooked because it's just faster to chew, right, when it's cooked. So you can combine that. So a little bit of raw grated cabbage, for example, mixed with some steamed kale or cabbage or collards or mustard greens or whatever, and you get the best of both worlds. Of course, broccoli sprouts work too. There's lots and lots of options, but I just wanted to share that little tip because it's kind of fun.
I love that, Ocean. And I will say I did add to Adrian and to others. Adrian, I responded to your question, your comment with the link to the article that Ocean mentioned. And then folks, I actually also just put it, I just like commented the link as well. So if you want to take a look at that article, you can go right to the blog or you can refresh the comment section and you should see it there as well.
And unfortunately, folks, if you're watching this, if you want to refresh the comment section, you have to refresh the page, which means we'll disappear for a second, but we'll be back. You can click the link again to come back to us if you want to do that, or you can just remember to do that at the end of the day and go back and review everything.
All right. I don't want to stop the party with the Q&A because these are really great questions and answers, but it's time to move on to the next step of the recipe. So I did just go ahead and roll everything. Hopefully I did it enough times for you guys to get a good sense of how to do it, but I do want to put a little bit of a disclaimer. If this is your first time using brown rice paper rolls and you just can't get it, you don't have to use them. The base of this makes a really beautiful, colorful salad. So you can take this cabbage as the base, maybe mix it with some of the romaine you had earlier this week or the kale you had earlier this week. And maybe to Ocean's point, saute up the kale just slightly to mix it in with some of this raw cabbage and top them with the rest of the veggies. It's just as delicious if you feel like you just cannot get the rolling part of this down. It does take a little bit of practice. I'm still not perfect at it, and I've been using these wrappers for many years. So it's just a skill that builds over time. But we're gonna go ahead and start with our chili mango sauce, and this comes together very quickly. What you'll need for that is a cup of diced mango. You can use fresh or you can use frozen, but make sure if you're using frozen that you've let it completely thaw. You'll add that to a food processor or a blender. There isn't really a need for any additional liquid in this recipe because of the mango and then some of the other things that we're going to be adding. To our mango, we're going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of organic rice vinegar. I would look for the unsweetened variety. Sometimes it's listed as unseasoned, so they don't add extra sugar or sodium to it. And usually the unsweetened version is also low sodium. So just look for that marker that says that the regular kind does have a little bit of added sugar. To that, we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of lime juice. So that's essentially 1 lime that you'll need to squeeze. You can also use lemon here, or if you want to skip citrus altogether, you can just add another tablespoon of rice vinegar. But I do find that the lime adds a nice zingy, citrusy flavor. It also adds a bit more vitamin C. This is a very vitamin C packed recipe. And then we're gonna add, the recipe does say a teaspoon of maple syrup optional. This is only if you find that your mango isn't quite ripe or sweet. Usually at the beginning of the season, mango is not as flavorful as it is when it's really in its window for being prime. So if you're feeling like the flavor is a little bit off, you can add a teaspoon just to help round out everything, but it's completely not necessary for this step. Then we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of gochujang. So this is actually a fermented chili paste. It's typically used in Korean cuisines. But a note to anyone that is wheat sensitive or celiac, usually gochujang has wheat in it, some variety of wheat in it. So I would steer clear of this and use a substitution like sambal oelek, which is a garlic chili paste, or sriracha. But if you're not a fan of spice, you don't have to use it at all. And then we're going to add in a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. You can use fresh garlic in place of garlic powder, but just know that it will be a very present flavor. So you may want to scale it back to about 1/4 teaspoon fresh if you are going to put that in this dip as opposed to using garlic powder. And then we blend. And you just blend till smooth. And then the last step, and this is also an optional step, you can add in 1/4 teaspoon of chili flake. So you could either use crushed red chili pepper, or you can use another Korean spice called gochugaru. And it's not super spicy, it's mildly spiced, but if you're just very sensitive to spice in general, definitely not necessary for this recipe. So now we're gonna plate and assemble. I'll cut a roll open so you guys can see what it looks like with all the colors. And we'll have a quick chat about some of the nutrition in one bite, because we've essentially put everything that we learned this week. So this is a great gut healthy recipe, a great brain power recipe, great for your metabolic health. It's got everything you need in one little bite. It's over here. Watch what I'm doing. Grab your favorite platter. I find sometimes when you serve things on dishes that make you smile, you tend to get a lot more excited to eat it. Or the same thing with if you have company and you want to showcase all of your delicious plant-based creations. Presentation goes a long way for people who are new to trying plant-based foods. But so this is what it looks like when it's all cut open. It's a good bite of the tofu, strawberry, purple cabbage, some avocado, cucumber, carrot, and a little bit of onion. And you can dish these up however you like. This is definitely one where I wish everyone is here with me today so I can share. Feels like such a bounty of wonderfully colorful food. And we didn't do a whole bunch of seasoning or treating either, so you're really getting the chance to explore the natural flavors of these foods in harmony together. A bit of sweet, a little bit of salty, a little bit of spicy, some creaminess from the avocado. It's truly a colorful plant-based bite. And we have tons of fiber in here. So fiber from the cabbage, the strawberries, the carrots, the cucumbers. The rice paper wraps themselves don't offer too much fiber. But they're still at least a good complex carb to add. And here we go. Our colorful summer spring rolls with our reds, purples, oranges, yellows. We have some white and some brown in there too. It really does look like a rainbow on a plate.
It looks gorgeous, Rosie. It's so pretty.
It does look great. Ocean, you're muted, but I will say
Yes,
I
I
can
was
see
just
that.
saying, wow. So
Yeah, that on
beautiful.
a picnic table, or oh, that just looks so good.
Yeah, yeah. Who says that healthy food's boring? Not us. Not you or your family when you make this one. Rosie, thank you so much for the great demo and the amazing display of multitasking. It's just so inspiring to see how much variety nature gives us when it comes to nourishing our bodies. Eating the rainbow isn't just about making a beautiful plate, it's also a simple way to ensure you're getting a broad range of nutrients that support your overall health. As we've been learning, red foods like tomatoes and strawberries are packed with antioxidants that support heart health. Orange foods like sweet potatoes and carrots are loaded with beta carotene that's great for your vision and your immunity. Green foods are rich in chlorophyll and in fiber, and they support digestion and metabolism. And then we've got the blue and the purple foods like berries and eggplant and purple potatoes that contain powerful compounds that promote brain health and longevity. Every single color brings something unique to the table, literally and figuratively. So the more variety we can include, the more we're giving our bodies what they need to thrive. Okay, folks, well, now we get to some questions and answers, some more questions and answers. So, and this is something, by the way, that Will and Rosie do every month in Whole Life Club. They hold a live coaching and culinary Q&A call over Zoom. You also get recipe demo videos. So much of what we're sharing here is just like a little taste of what you open up into when you join Whole Life Club. Some of you are already members. Feel free to share your experiences and what it's been like for you. And let's get to a few questions and answers. Over to you, Will.
Thanks, Ocean. Yeah, it is pretty fabulous, to be honest. So, like you said, and folks, you've been doing it, right? We've been doing it every day of this challenge. We're doing it with the demo on the spring roll recipe. So submit your questions in the comments, and we'll be sure to address as many as we can. Now, some were already coming in, so let me I have a list compiled. These can go back to the demo. That's perfectly fine. They can go to other demos of this challenge. That's also fine. And then if you have other, culinary or nutrition questions, anything but medical questions, feel free to comment those, and we'll be keeping our eyes out. So there was a question from Dawn. Let's see, here it is. Dawn G asked, how long do hemp seeds keep? Do you refrigerate, keep them in the pantry, or do you have to freeze them? What do we think, Rosie or Nicole?
Yeah, so great question, Don. This actually applies to any nuts or seeds because of their higher healthy fat content. We want to prevent them from going rancid too quickly. So you can keep them, generally speaking, up to 3 months in the refrigerator and up to 6 to 9 months in the freezer. They'll stay good. I typically will keep them front and center in the fridge. Sometimes I'll take, if you had them in your cabinet and they're there for a month, it's not going to be the end of the world. You don't have to ditch them. But in general, you want to keep these in the refrigerator or freezer just to keep those fats from going rancid. And it's just a good practice in general, just to do that. Buying them in bulk can be helpful to reduce costs, and putting them in jars. So sometimes I'll keep half in the fridge and half in the freezer and pull them out of the freezer as needed.
And I know some folks who may feel like, oh, is that going to change the taste, or is that going to change the texture if I put it in the fridge? Like, I don't want to do that. These nuts are expensive, or these seeds are expensive. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that changing the taste or texture?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're right. You do not want to waste any amount of these foods because it's your precious money, and it's nutrition. So, no, they freeze really well. Just make sure you have a freezer safe container. So some containers they can absorb, because of their fat content, they can absorb other flavors in the fridge. So you want to make sure they're stored properly. I like to use glass mason jars, or if you have like an old condiment jar that's pretty large, you can reuse that. But those glass jars are really good, and just make sure they have a good sealed container and they'll store great. The texture and flavor will not be altered.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. Rosie, a little bit of love here for you from Maria C. just commented, beautiful presentation of spring rolls. I'm so excited about trying them. Rosie, great job throughout this challenge. Thought I'd share that.
Thank you.
Okay, Rosie, also to you, Pamela had asked, how many days will these rolls stay fresh?
Good question. Actually, these will last a while. So these spring roll wrappers, they're pretty hardy as long as they don't split as you're rolling them. Because of the combination of the carrot and the cabbage, they're a bit hardier and sturdier, so they're not going to go bad as quickly as, let's say, other softer leafy greens would. So this actually keeps pretty well for about 4 days. Other ingredients in here, like the avocado, might start to turn a little bit. The basil might start to turn a little bit, but generally these will store pretty well for 4 to 5 days.
Awesome. Thanks, Rosie. I love this comment. I really want to share it from Susan, who just said, "Thank you for the demo. I have been nervous about making spring rolls because they looked so difficult to make. You have eased my fears."
Oh, good. I'm glad. And definitely try the parchment paper trick. It really helps with like getting it to completely close.
Yeah, thank you, Rosie. I mean, you really have just expertly and lovingly demoed these recipes. And I know so many folks in Whole Life Club truly benefit. I mean, there's a reason why those events are so well attended because one, you do such a great job. And two, I think they're just so effective, right? Like when people see that how it can be done and how it can be done in just such a like you bring such an ease to it, and I think that's empowering, that truly is. And when people are so new to change, adopting whole food plant-based eating, that's the eating part. And then of course when they're doing that in the kitchen, it can be daunting for many, right? And Rosie, you do such a great job at showing people that it can be fun, and that it doesn't have to be difficult. It might be a challenge, but it doesn't have to be difficult, or it doesn't stay difficult. So kudos to you, Rosie, for doing that and showing people how it can be done. Carrie asked, any suggestions for a substitute for hemp seeds? I'm not able to eat them, and I'm making more protein sources. I'm not sure if that was regarding adding them to the smoothies. I think that's when that question came in. Rosie or Nicole, any thoughts on, if we can't do hemp seeds, what can we replace in smoothies or elsewhere for hemp seeds?
Yeah. So hemp is pretty easily interchangeable, especially with a very similar seed, chia, also high in omega, really good protein profile. And you can also substitute ground flax. So I think that one may actually be the most concentrated source of omega-3s, which is why we talk about them so much, but they also have other compounds that are very nourishing and helpful, like lignans. So those are great substitutions. You can also try walnuts if that is not a sensitivity for you. If you don't have a nut allergy, you like the flavor of them, and you still want to keep some omega-3/protein content going from nuts and seeds specifically. Sunflower seeds are also another good one. Sunflower does have a very distinct taste, but I find it does not tend to disrupt other flavors. You just notice that it's there a little bit more than hemp or chia, or maybe even flax, depending on your taste buds. I know for me personally, I can always tell when flax is in something, but others cannot. So it's just your palate when it comes to that one. But walnuts and sunflower seeds can also be a good option. Did I miss any, Nicole?
Well, yeah, no, that was great, Rosie. Thank you for that awesome answer. I would say like too, depending on what we're talking about, we mentioned earlier in the week, nutritional yeast and hemp seeds can sometimes in it, like if you're just using a sprinkle over something, of course, nutritional yeast is going to impart that cheesy flavor. So depending on what you're using it, but nutritional yeast is actually a pretty decent source of protein. So if you're trying to make something cheesy and you want something similar to hemp, so probably wouldn't put that in a smoothie. But also pumpkin seeds can be another, like any seeds or nuts that you really enjoy. Peanuts are a really high source of excellent source of protein. So I would say opting for any nuts or seeds that you enjoy and can tolerate. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both for that one. Ali had asked this, and I don't know if either of you or even Ocean wants to take this one. Ali H said, "Can you please go over what supplements we may need to take with whole food plant-based eating?" I remember it's hard to get enough of the B vitamins. Perhaps Ali read or saw that somewhere. Either of you want to go over supplements or what specific maybe nutrients plant-based eaters may want to pay attention to?
I'd be happy to cover that. And one thing that really helps a lot is Complement. Complement Essential is a product made by some friends of ours that specifically tries to cover the bases of the main things that plant-based eaters might possibly need. And it's not trying to give huge quantities of anything. It's just covering the baselines. So Complement Essential has, I think, 8 things in it. There's DHA and EPA. There's zinc, selenium, vitamin K2, iodine, B12, um, and magnesium all under one roof. So you just take it once a day and you got those bases covered. Now, you can find out more about that if you go to foodrevolution.org/complement. And bonus, you'll get a discount and they'll make a contribution in support of our work if you make a purchase there. Again, that's foodrevolution.org/complement. Now, from there are a few things that some people may also want to consider depending on their specific situation. Creatine can be beneficial for building muscle strength and also potentially bone strength. Omega-3s, some people want to get more than they're getting from the complement, so you may want to take some additional long-chain fatty acids, maybe an algae-based supplement, but you don't necessarily, it depends. But if you don't eat fish and you don't consume lots of chia and flax seeds, you may at least want to get your blood levels checked and see, and then that can be something to consider. And then some people, especially postmenopausal women, may benefit for some calcium, but you want to make sure you're getting some vitamin D and some vitamin K2 along with it to help make sure it gets into your bones instead of into your arteries, and not too much calcium, just a little bonus supplement like 300 to 500 milligrams a day could be beneficial depending on your situation. Of course, talk to a qualified healthcare professional about your specific needs, but those are the things that we generally talk about. As far as B vitamins, which you asked about, we do have an article about that at foodrevolution.org. If you type in B vitamins, and you can find out more. The one that we recommend for just about everybody is B12. Especially vegans. All vegans basically should be taking B12 on a regular basis. But other B vitamins, mostly you get them from food, and but you can look at that article to learn a little more if there's any you're specifically concerned about. Wow, look at the time. Okay, well, let me take this one here from Susan, and then we'll pivot to the last piece of our program today. So Susan said, I've really enjoyed these last 5 days. I can feel the love and respect that you have for each other and the passion to improve our health and lives. I belong to a few groups already, but think joining you will only enrich my life further. It's only 40 pence UK a day, so well worth it. I've had my fingers crossed to be pulled out of the daily draw. I've just pressed the join button, so I'm now part of the family. Susan, welcome to the family. We're so glad that you've chosen to join us in this journey. We are so grateful to be in this journey with so many amazing humans. Yes, the other folks in FRN, but also the entire Whole Life Club community, lifting each other up and supporting each other. In this increasingly information-saturated world where so much is online and so much is about data and AI and information, I think that humanity becomes more important than ever. I think love and bodies and human connection become more important than ever. And that's part of what we're trying to create in Whole Life Club, is a space where you can connect with kindred spirits, where you can actually eat in a new way that serves your well-being. So it's not just about data, although you need the data. It's also about action. It's about connection. It's about community, and it's about transformation. And I just want to say how proud I am of all of you for showing up this week in a world that often pulls us away from what really matters. You have made space for your health. You've made space for learning. Many of you have made space for cooking in new ways, and we're proud of you. It's not a small thing. And I hope you can feel the difference in your body and in your energy, maybe even in your mindset, because you are in the game, because you are participating, learning, and growing. And now comes a real turning point, because we all know that inspiration can come fast, but so can forgetting. One study showed that people forget 90% of what they learn within just a few days. But the ones who take action, the ones who get support, and who keep going, they're the ones who actually change their lives. And that's what Whole Life Club's all about. It's not about a quick fix. It's not another program you'd start and abandon. It's a home base. It's a steady rhythm that helps you turn intention into reality, and knowledge into daily habits, and possibility into real and tangible results. So let's show a few slides now so you can get a bit more picture of what this is all about, why we're doing this, and what it means. So first of all, the cost of the status quo is enormous. We live in a toxic food culture, and if you eat and live the way most people do around us, you are likely to wind up with chronic disease. Over half of our seniors over age 85 have Alzheimer's disease. More people than not are suffering from cardiovascular disease or heart health problems. So the cost of the status quo is immense. Next slide. And as a matter of fact, according to one major study, the United States alone spends around $1 trillion a year to treat chronic diet-related diseases. More than $1 trillion per year. Now, keep in mind here, folks, that almost 20% of U.S. gross domestic product, all the money we spend on everything, is on healthcare, which is really disease symptom management. But a huge part of that is diet-related chronic conditions. Next slide. The burden of chronic disease is massive. Globally, 7 of the 10 leading causes of death in the world are non-communicable chronic diseases. 38% of all of all deaths are caused by chronic disease. Worldwide, according to the United Nations, every year 41 million people die prematurely of chronic illness that could be prevented with healthier diet and lifestyle. 41 million deaths per year. Next slide. So all of this is being fueled by what we're eating and how we're living. But what we're eating and how we're living isn't just impacting our bodies, it's also impacting the body of life on Earth. So livestock now make up 62% of the world's biomass. Humans account for 34%. All the wild mammals of the earth are down to just 4% of all mammalian biomass. That's the collective body weight of mammals. So what we're doing is we're eating all of the wild creatures out of house and home. We're destroying their forests and their ecosystems to create land on which we can graze livestock and on which we can grow food to feed to our livestock. Next slide. And this is using up a lot of resources. It takes about 12 pounds of grain or soy to produce a single pound of feedlot beef. So it's like a protein factory in reverse. But all that grain or soy, all that land also uses a whole lot of water. It takes about 1,800 gallons of water to produce a single pound of feedlot beef in the United States today. So if you wanted to save 1,850 gallons of water, you could not eat a pound of beef or you could not shower for 115 days. Next slide. So that's why at Food Revolution Network, we're standing for healthy, ethical, sustainable food for all. We want healthy people and we want a healthy planet. We want to show what's possible, that we could save millions of lives. We could save trillions of dollars. We could make this world a much better and more beautiful place when we take action. And that's why we do what we do. Next slide. So Whole Life Club is our answer to the core question, how do we help folks to move from knowledge to action? Next slide. So we have wisdom and recipes and community. You get premium access to our library of more than 80 action hours with guest experts. Every month we have another one, and you can submit your questions in advance, and then we bring those to the expert. Next slide. You get guidance from our brilliant community of speakers. You've gotten to connect here with Dr. Aisha Sherzai and Dr. Alan Desmond. Well, there are so many more than 80 of them in the library and new ones every month, so you can learn from the best of the best. Next slide. There's also community. You get access to a community where you can connect and share your challenges, share your questions, share your needs, share your ahas, share your breakthroughs, share your successes, and learn and get inspired by others. And if you're more of a lurker and you don't like to be out in front, that's fine. You can just see what other people are up to, and you can support them if you want to, or you can just listen and learn, and maybe you'll learn about questions you didn't even know you had that suddenly could change your world. So you get our mouth-watering recipe library, you get our engaging member center, you get connection with community, you get meaningful live events almost every single week. Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Well, in Whole Life Club, you find out all about that. Next slide. So right now there's a discount. You may have heard that. We've been talking about it because we want to inspire you and support you to take action from this moment forward. So when you join in today, you can join for just $1 for your first 14 days. After that, you're able to get in with a 60% discount. That's $197 a year, Or you can join in with a $29 a month scenario if that's your preference. We give a discount for annual because we really want to support you in making that big stand and commitment to your health and saying, I'm going to do this rather than kind of being a toe dipper. But you also get a 60-day total money back guarantee. So if you are not thrilled with your experience, you can make that investment and you can absolutely get a refund if you want to. Hardly anybody does because people love it. But absolutely, you can. We do not want you to stay unless you are in love with this experience and it is really rocking your world. Next slide. So you can join Whole Life Club now. There is a link on the page. You can go to wlc.foodrevolution.org/challenge/whole. If for some reason you're watching this on YouTube and you're not able to see the page, again, that's wlc.foodrevolution.org/challenge/whole. But you don't have to remember all that. You can just click on the link on the page and you'll go right there. Next slide. So we look forward to welcoming you in Whole Life Club. End of slideshow. Thank you all so much. So that's our slideshow, and now we're back to live here. I mean, we were already live, but now we're back to, like, you can see my face again. So let me ask you something. Have you ever said, I know what I should be doing, I just need to actually do it? Or have you ever said, I fall off track when life gets busy? Or maybe I'm the only one in my family eating this way, and it can be hard to stay motivated. If any of that sounds familiar, if you face any obstacles that make it more difficult, or you're not really sure if you can stay the course, or you're a little wobbly, then Whole Life Club might be for you. But if you're also on the path, solid and clear, but you know there's more, you want to take that next step, you want to optimize, you're a healthy eater, but you want to go further and faster and deeper, and you want to be a part of a community of peers that makes it more fun and delicious to love foods that love you back, Whole Life Club could be for you too. So every single week you get 6 amazing whole food plant-based recipes that are simple, affordable, and mouth-watering. You get a short video and action checklist to help you take the next step on your journey. You get access to a private community, not on Facebook, where you can get your questions answered and share wins and feel supported by people who actually get it. You get the monthly action hours with top-tier doctors and experts, and you can ask your own questions for them. You get weekly live events where you can connect and learn and stay inspired with cooking demos and Q&A with nutrition professionals and heart-centered community calls. And you also, when you join, unlock our full action hour library and our database of more than 1,400 recipes. You know, folks, you don't have to figure this out on your own. Look, I know how overwhelming health can feel. The internet is loaded with conflicting advice. There's always some new fad or some flashy supplement or restrictive plan being pushed, and it's so hard to know what's real and what's not. And if you start to slide back or you get some concerning lab results, it's like, oh my gosh, has this been working? What am I doing wrong? You don't have to figure it all out alone. You deserve support. You deserve allies. In a toxic food culture, your health is just too important to leave up to chance. We want to support you. We've created this program to do just that. It's not about hype. It's not about shame. It's not about quick fixes. It's about evidence-based guidance, real community, and a structure that helps you build a lifestyle you can love and stick with it. So whether or not you're concerned about your personal health, I also want to invite you to consider this. Choosing a whole food plant-based lifestyle is one of the most powerful ways to care for our planet and the animals with whom we share it. So if you're someone who cares about creating a kinder and a more sustainable world, you're in the right place for that too. We do too, and we're glad to be with you. So here's what it comes down to. You've got a choice today. You can let this challenge be a one-time experience, or you can let it be the beginning of a transformation. Because what you've learned this week matters, but what you do with it matters so much more. So right now, again, you can join in for just $1 for a 14-day trial or $197 for a year. What's more expensive than $197 a year? Well, mounting medical bills are. Lost energy is. Preventable illness is. Missed time with your loved ones is. This is your moment to say yes to the life that you want and to take action and to step into more health and more vibrancy and more vitality with a team and a community at your side. So whether or not you join Whole Life Club, please let this fire burn bright in your life. And we're here to support you and to stand with you if you want to join us in Whole Life Club. So if this challenge has lit a spark and Whole Life Club is a pathway towards keeping it burning bright, then we want to walk the journey with you and we want to welcome you. Thank you all so much for joining us in this Eat the Rainbow challenge. Huge love and gratitude to you. And we're going to be wrapping up today. So let me say again how proud I am of everybody who's participating. And remember, there's still one more challenge recipe, which you've seen Rosie demonstrate today. So make and post a narrative comment about today's recipe, the summer rainbow spring rolls with sweet chili mango sauce. And we will be randomly choosing 2 people from today's recipe posters to win a year's membership in Whole Life Club. We'll follow up with you tomorrow if you're the lucky winner. But please, folks, don't delay and hold off just in case from taking advantage of your chance to join Whole Life Club. If you happen to be a winner, then we will, of course, give you a refund if you made a purchase in the meanwhile. But don't miss this chance. All right, folks, it's been a blast sharing this rainbow with all of you. Now I'm going to invite Will and Rosie and Nicole to share any final words with us today as we wrap up this challenge. Will, over to you first.
Thanks, Ocean. I love what you said about whole food, plant-based eating being powerful. I think it is. It really is powerful. I think what we can take away from these past 5 days, but also including the summit, which I know a lot of us here have kind of attended and watched and were inspired by, it's a simple choice, but it is a big one. Whole Life Club is here to support you, to empower you, to inspire you. You're taking steps by being here now. I just hope that you can continue to take those steps, making and sharing this delicious food, continuing to learn, and continuing to honestly just spread this food revolution. So thank you all for being here these past 5 days, for cooking with us, for learning with us. And I hope that you take that next step in joining Whole Life Club, or at the very least, just continue your whole food plant-based journey. Off to you, Rosie.
Well, so beautifully said. As I'm sitting here looking at today's demo recipe and really just admiring all of the smells, these strawberries smell incredible. And it is because we are in strawberry season. So that's one of my favorite aspects of plant-based eating, is when you're eating in season to when things are meant to be around. My goodness, the way that they smell, they taste, and how they nourish you. It's like looking at sunshine on a plate. And that's honestly how I feel about Whole Life Club. It's just sunshine, it's positivity, it's encouragement. The fun never stops. We actually have more fun coming up this week for those who are members, or those of you itching to join. You'll see what the fun is soon enough. But I hope that this has been a really inspiring challenge for you all, that you all are feeling that joy and positivity and looking at all of these colors with wonderment and amazement, because plant-based eating really is all of that and so much more. How about you, Nicole?
Oh my gosh, I love that term, sunshine on a plate. I think I'm going to use it, Rosie. Thank you for mentioning that. I feel like there's a mic drop after that. It is like sunshine on a plate, all these powerful colors, and how that sunshine on your plate radiates to you. So thank you for saying that. I feel like that's going to resonate in all of our minds. And I also want to echo the sentiments here from our wonderful community who participated these past 5 days about your cooking demos, how wonderful they were. I'm inspired. I forget about recipes. And when you demonstrate them, it makes me want to eat them again. I'm like, oh yeah. And you make it look so easy and accessible and delicious. And like, I know we all want to be in your kitchen, and you can smell it through the screen. And on top of all of that, you had like these really cool, beautiful matching outfits for each day. So you really just hit it out of the park. So thanks, Rosie. And also just related to watching Rosie and having access to these recipes and hearing your comments, I just want to reemphasize the power of community. I think just like coming together and listening to everybody speak and having the conversations in that area where we've been connecting, that connection is so inspiring. And we do this daily, but just being here with all of you, we find myself each day reaching in the fridge for those colors more than I would normally do. So I think just having this a part of the daily conversation is inspiration in and of itself. And to have a community to do that with is just super empowering. So I hope you all join.
Thank you so much. Yes, I have loved these 5 days, and I've loved doing it with this incredible team, and I've loved doing it with all of you participating. Um, Marlene said, being a member of Whole Life Club since 2020 has been the best decision I ever made. So grateful for the team. And Catherine said, I joined a few weeks back, totally worth it. The team rocks. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. It's been a blast, and it's been real, and it's been rainbow. Blessings to you all. Hope you have an amazing day and nourishing, delicious food in your future. We look forward to seeing you, whether it's in Whole Life Club or other programs or events. Check out foodrevolution.org for our incredible library of articles. And hope to see a lot of you in Whole Life Club. Blessings. Have a beautiful day.